Hi everyone, I've got a bee in my bonnet at the minute. Probably noticed this over the years as well, that I get a particular topic in my mind and then I run with it from all different angles, whether it be with learners, whether it be training driving instructors, or whether it be on the channel. And my bee in my bonnet at the minute is non-routine. I've just done a lesson with one of my pupils there. I've got to go into Liverpool city centre for a meeting, so I'm heading into there now, and I thought, well, I'll just get a camera up and running and we'll have a little look at non-routine and what I mean by it. Quick explanation before we get going. People often drive in a routine manner. Someone sent me a link to a video the other day about motorists who drive 40 miles an hour absolutely everywhere, whether it be in a 30 zone or in fact on a national speed limit road. And it was from a motorcyclist perspective. That's a little irrelevant. The video was actually pretty good, to be honest. It was quite interesting, but it ties into what I'm dealing with this video today. It's not just speed though, it's how people accelerate, it's how people brake, it's how people signal, it's when people lane change, it's everything. And people drive in a routine manner, and this routine manner probably copes with 80% of the things that happen out there. And people on driving tests do the same sort of thing. They drive in a routine manner, and if they get that test that goes routinely, they pass. But outside of that 80%, in the 10% at either end of the extremes, people go wrong. And this is what I'm trying to stop people doing. I'm trying to get people to think about what's happening a little bit. So I'm going to be talking about many things. It's a drive like a driving instructor. Probably got about half an hour or so whilst I'm going to be talking about this subject. And as normal, it's not scripted. I'm just going to drive to what I see and just talk about it. So even moving off, people will instantly whack a signal on. No, it should be done to the situation. So there, it was ideal. Like this one. Is this one turning around? No. So again, I altered when I moved off to what was going on and what was happening. Now, meeting situations, you'll deal with this road differently. If you go down it 10 times, you'll deal with it differently 10 times. And that's the key. What if that particular driver hadn't have moved across? Would I have been able to continue? No. So you've got to be ready to give yourself options to do either or do all of it. Plenty of things here. Yeah, I was leaving that lady option to go through, but she was okay. She decided to wait. What if the van doesn't give me space? It does, it holds back. Thank you, sir. Cheers, buddy. What if, at this scenario, a big lorry came round the corner because it can't go over the bridge back towards mine? You'd be ready to slow. But people will go, well, I'm not doing it over the speed limit, I'm doing 20. It's a ridiculous way of thinking about any scenario. Here, how am I accelerating? Well, I'm accelerating, well, I'm decelerating because I'm slow in the red. Oh, the red one's doing a turn. That's okay. They did a pretty good job. They signalled and they flashed the lights. All right, I'm not going to go into that flashing the lights today. There was no else about, so it was okay. They could have just been alerting me of what they were doing. But notice how both of us changed what we were doing with our driving. I slowed early, the other driver realised I was waiting and then instantly put an early signal on and flashed the lights to enable flow. But if you do things routinely all the time, that doesn't happen. So would you be braking at one particular point? Would you be pressing the clutch down at one particular point? Little rant from a lesson observation I did with a potential driving instructor yesterday, that they were teaching their pupil to declutch at 2 car lengths before they came to a stop. It wasn't his fault, it's what he's been taught. But how can that be the case? What if I was in 6th gear on a national speed limit dual carriageway and a set of lights changed in front of me? Could I declutch at 20 miles an hour in 6th gear? Of course you can't. Are all cars going to be exactly the same? Of course they're not. It's different. Create time, though, by slowing to give yourself options. But alter what you're doing to suit. Even as we're sat here, you're one of those people who always goes handbrake neutral, or do you always leave it in 1st gear? Neither of those mindsets are the correct way to really do things, because each situation might require a different solution. And by doing things in this way, you're not then going to be caught out if you're in handbrake neutral, because you're not watching, you're observing, you're finding out what's going on. And on the other side of the coin, if you just wait in 1st gear, you're just then reactive to the lorry moving away. Where even there, because I kept back, I was looking actually at the reflection in the buses of the traffic moving. How did I accelerate away there? I accelerated slowly because I need more view. But again, people won't do things in that way. They'll accelerate in a set way. But those same people will then accelerate in that set way as they join a motorway. Mind blown. The same goes with signalling. And this is probably going to wind a few people up. But honestly, you know me over the years, I don't care in the slightest. I'm not chasing subscribers, although it is nice if you are not already subscribed and you think pressing that button isn't going to be too difficult. Please do, because it helps my reach, it helps me get out to more people. But I've never, as you mostly know, never been upset or never been scared of upsetting people. But signalling is the thing that people say, I always signal to move off, I always signal to do a lane change. And it's exactly the same thought process. People who work in that manner will not alter their signal to suit the surroundings. You're not signaling for yourself, you're signaling for other people. And people need to be told at different times depending on the scenario that they're in. How am I going to move away here? Not going to use lane 2. Not with being next to that FedEx lorry, didn't fancy that in case they turned. If it was a car, I may very well have used all the space there. No problems, that was all okay. Couldn't have stopped before the line. Kept my space, black one was all okay, and now notice I'm growing my gap. This one okay to the left. Alter what you're doing. Ready to alter if the white one's going to come out. No issues. I'm going to alter my position to accommodate the bus, but I'm still mindful of this pedestrian to the left. That's okay. So there was a bigger adjustment of what I had to do there through that whole scenario. If the bus had just been the only thing that I was dealing with, I could have got closer to the left and probably kept my speed up a little. But because the pedestrian was there, I had to alter even more. I had a little move back to the right. I still left the bus enough room, but what did I do with my speed? Well, I slowed it down even further to protect from risk. Is what it is. How am I going to move away now? Does everyone always just tag onto that vehicle in front? Well, I'm going to adjust. First of all, kind of clear the junction. I've got rid of the yellow box, so I'm okay. No problems. But even moving away, I will alter my acceleration to suit who's around us and who's next to us. 2 lanes are into 1, so again, this is something that requires alteration of what we're doing. You can be positive with how you move away, but you can also be submissive, and each situation requires a different answer sometimes. Just held my move off back, just in case people want to come into here. Range Rover's turning right. I'm going to budge up now. I don't think many people are going to use that little area. So again, change your thought processes. Sometimes you'll hold back, sometimes you'll change your mind, but always leave yourself options. Range Rover to my right hand side. has already dealt their hand. They're going to hold back. So I can just keep up with the flow. But if they were doing something differently, I would have to adapt and change. And that's it. Traffic's quite busy to now today. Lights could change, adjusting, being ready. Yep, can stop there. No problems. Lady in the Range Rover behind was good as gold. No problems, nice driving. She held back when she saw the situation narrowing, and she was at a good distance. I would alter what I'm doing here depending on who's to the side as well. No one crossing. Is this lady to the left going to walk? No. Happy. All good. Okay, so I can get on with it a little bit now, but still a fair bit of traffic to the right. Can't see loads. Lights probably aren't going to change because the filter arrow has just disappeared, which means the oncoming traffic are going to be let go. People to the left, no, they're looking to cross after me. No issues there. All fine. Okay, all good. So, second set of lights, I'm turning right. I'll position to the right hand side early for this. You want to always do that. Obviously, if you were going in a different direction, you'd do something differently. I'm going to signal early to just pre-warn the traffic a bit further back that I am turning. Don't get stuck behind me. They shouldn't do anyway because it's a right turning lane only. But there's always people, maybe like the Astra, behind who are potentially going to go ahead from the right-hand lane. Notice how I spot that as well. Notice how I knew that was happening. How did I know that was happening? Because I'm not just going, oh, signal. I'm actually paying attention to what's going on. The speed of that red Astra was so much so that they were either rushing to get to the lights where I was, which was pretty pointless because the filter arrow didn't come on when I was doing that right turn, or they were just going to blaze straight through like they did. Be switched on with it. So, alter what we're doing. So, would you signal to come back in round parked cars? I may do sometimes. I wouldn't do all the time. Here? No, definitely not. There's a little side entrance there. There was no one catching me from behind. So again, each situation requires a different approach. People do roundabouts routinely. Who always does a roundabout in second gear? I don't. Most of the time, I will do a roundabout in second gear. Let's have a little look at this one. The van, going to go around, lorry's slow. No, I'm going to do first till not what the Range Rover's doing. Range Rover's going in there, that's fine. What lane am I going to exit? Just going to make sure there's no one pushing down that side. Go straight into lane 2. Easy peasy. So yeah, how many people always do junctions in a particular speed and gear? I am going to overtake this one. Going a little slow. He's only doing 25. When people are doing 25 in a 30, unless they're obviously a learner driver or something like that, think on why. Probably looking for somewhere. Sure there's any reason to be doing that. Sure he is driving like that routinely. Don't know. Anyway. Don't usually overtake down here, but I'm always ready to. I'm already planning, for example, why the lorry's just got out. Is that one on the left-hand side parked, or is it in a queue? I've got options. I can change what I'm doing. What lane do you use for a particular junction at a particular set of lights on your commute? Do you always use the same one? Or when there's a choice, do you alter what you're doing to suit the situation? You know what I do? I think you know my answer already. Sound. It's a busy one. I think I'm still going ahead. Again, lane 3 is available, but I think I would absolutely have to tonk it there. I'm going to go into lane 3 now. But I would have had to have booted it while the traffic was flowing to get past the lorry. I don't have to boot it as much because this lorry isn't going to be as quick away as me. Would he always be here? No. Each situation requires observing and then a change of decision depending on what you're seeing. That's it. Do I always sit here with my hands on the steering wheel? Like I hear some people say, well, you should have 2 hands on the wheel in case you get hit from behind. There's a lorry protecting me. Not going to be an issue, or it shouldn't be. But if something changed, I would alter what I do. So just constantly watch, constantly pay attention. So handbrake neutral. I know I've just mentioned it before, but when people just wait in gear, for me, that's the ultimate act of laziness. Because you're not relying on what you're looking at, you're just reacting to your lights changing. And then it becomes a drag race. And you're not planned. And then you're not ahead of the game. Say, for example, oh, lights change, rush, go. And then you don't realise that there's someone walking behind this lorry because you're just reacting to that traffic light. So watch how I adjust my speed to even move off here. There's a gap in the traffic. Ours are probably going to change. I've already had my checks either side for cyclists or motorcyclists. I'm going to move slowly. Now I'm happy. I'm going. I'm having a little lean forward in my mirror just to make sure there was no one from that other side. And then I'm going to go back to the left. Don't need signal. Wasn't affecting anyone. Alter what you're doing. Alter how you're doing your braking with this. For example, traffic side to side is quite thin. So I'm taking my time now, and hopefully these lights are going to change. I'll pop it into gear and just continue. Bingo. Altering my acceleration to the silver one. There's parked cars up ahead, so I've just adjusted in case those parked cars were on the road. I wasn't certain for a little moment there, but I adjusted how I moved away to ensure that that silver one was going to be passed by the time I got anywhere near these parked ones. Honestly, it's a totally different level than most people operate at. And I'm not bigging myself up. It's not. It's just what I do. No issues. I'm going to use lane 2. Quite often don't do it here because you'll often get stuck behind people turning right. Traffic's thin right and left. I'm being ready and rolling in super slow. I'll choose first gear this time and away. Lights are on green. Off we go. Change my rate of acceleration. Off, gone, finished. Resettle, done. Sound. Allows you to make progress down the road. Absolutely does. So, non-routine. It is a big concern for me that people pass driving tests just being routine, but they do. And driving instructors teach routine as well. They teach what's going to get the student through the test probably 80% of the time. But then they have that 10% at either end of the spectrum that's non-routine and they fail. But what's more concerning is the people who then do get through then haven't been taught these things. I'm watching the Audi to my right. Are they going to do non-routine and go straight on from lane 2? Absolutely. You can spot it a mile off as well, can't you? Be watching people. Be ready to adjust. Be ready to adapt. It's actually not that difficult once you get yourself into this mindset. There is a greater cognitive load to do it, but once you start doing it, driving then becomes super chilled, super easy. And honestly, you think on what I'm able to do. I'm able to talk fluently whilst I'm doing it. All right, I've been doing this for years, but that ability to talk and drive is massive. It's happening either side. Third in the queue this time. Handbrake, neutral. So once we've seen the rowdy driver do that once, are they really that bad? Or do you think they did it purposefully? purposefully, without doubt. So therefore, I'm aware of them doing something similar a little bit further up. Sound? No issues with all of that. They're driving sensibly now, though. Do you think they've cottoned on and recognised the car? I do find that nowadays. I haven't got my roof box on today. I'm just taking it off. So we're likely to get pulled by the police. Only joking. But yeah, I do find I probably need to buy another car and just film from the inside of it and not show any pictures of the outside, so I can drive incognito and find out really what people are going to be like. But anyway, it's sort of a good thing, because my videos do get out to a lot of people, and the message does get out to a lot of people. Let's have a little look at this. Handbrake, definitely. Not letting auto hold just stay on because of the brake lights. Making sure people aren't just going to jump through. The lorry up ahead alters how we do things as well. Adjusting speed, adjusting what's happening. There you go, doing 22, 23 miles an hour. Altering what I do, depending on the person behind also. I've created more space. People will just tag on. They will just be doing things routinely. They won't understand, honestly. I know it's pretty obvious because you can see it on film, but they won't understand about the lorry up ahead. And they'll just be looking at the back of my vehicle. Just watching as well, just in case there's anything that happens down the side that I maybe need to use my horn and warn of. Depends. No one around. Accelerate to suit. Had to alter my acceleration for the impatient rowdy driver in front. I think they are on the best behaviour. Anyway, that's all right, that. Doing what they did and going straight on from a right turning lane is actually not an offence either. I shouldn't be telling people this, really. So don't fight against it. You shouldn't do it. If I was to have a collision with the Audi driver with that junction where they went straight on from a right turning lane, because they're going against the markings, they would be more than likely held at fault. Adjusting what I'm doing to this one signalling, I didn't have a chance, but if there was a chance for me to move left and get going a little bit quicker to enable them to flow and do their right turn, I would have done. Didn't happen though, so that's okay. I am just going to follow the Audi driver as well. Oncoming traffic, there's none. Second gear for this particular sharpens the corner, so look at your steering input. When are we going to go past the parked ones? No one's behind me for a little while, but don't just follow. I'm looking over the top of the bridge. There is a car coming, so I'm going to change my rate of acceleration, but I'm now ready to slow if they come through. They do. So notice I was doing my utmost not to inconvenience. I'd already committed by the time that car coming the other way appeared, so I tried to do my best to get out of the way. Didn't happen. I'm going to turn left here, sharpness a corner, it's downhill. It's all saying to me it's fine in second, no issues. Parked cars and the narrowness of this street now say to me I've got to adjust accordingly. Get a little bit closer to this side because think of the risk here. So don't always drive in a particular position away from the left-hand side. It's quite unusual. You might have roadworks sometimes that you decide to get a little bit closer to because it increases the flow. Where they end, though, is totally different. So notice I've backed off and allowed the Ford past so I can give that a little bit more space, because you don't know whether someone's just going to cycle out, walk out, or whatever. Shall I go into the middle? Yes, because I think there's enough time to go after the blue lorry. The Ford's doing a right turn. I'm all okay. and away we go. Even gear changes. Let's just have a little quick talk about these as well. People always, well, routinely change gear at exactly the same time all the time, and then it interferes with steering input. You've got to make sure that you alter your gear changes to suit what's going on as well. Sometimes if you accelerate a little bit quicker, you can get to the next gear a little bit sooner and have it done before your steering input. And vice versa, if you accelerate a little bit slower, you can maybe then get your steering set up, hold the steering wheel, get your gear in a corner. But again, people just do things routinely. Motorcyclist is totally fine there. No issues. I'm going to keep an eye on a couple of different things going past. Either mirror, never know. Because again, it would make me change. As I move off, remember, one of my mantras is staggered formation. The longer time you can spend in the staggered formation, the safer you are. So let's have a look and see how things work out. Yes, behind the van is ideal. So I'm going to change my rate of acceleration now. And that actually suits what I'm doing, because I am going to do a lane change a little bit further. I'm going to do it now, because I am going in towards Liverpool 1 car park a little bit further up. Okay, I hope that all makes sense. That routineness, like I said, is my bee in my bonnet at the minute. I've even tried very hard over the last little bit to stop getting driving instructors to think in this routine manner. In other words, they'll pick a set route for a particular pupil on a particular lesson. So you're going through? Yes. Call it before it happens. Yeah, driving instructors will pick a particular route before it happens, and then they stick with that route regardless of how the student's getting on. You've got to wing things. You've just got to look, listen, think and observe, and that's exactly the same with your driving all the time. Most people do just drive an autopilot. We're not talking about the Tesla systems, we're just talking about this routineness. So therefore, you've got to adjust. What should I do with this guy? Oh, he's pulling a trailer as well, so it's a balancing act. I am just going to stay this side of him. We're up to the speed limit. They're going a little bit faster. I am staying put with where I'm going a bit further up, adjusting my speed. Can get through the yellow box, that's fine. Next lights, can clear them as well, that's fine. Just aware of this one again. And have a look at the vehicle that's in front of us. Not now, not the MG. The rowdy that broke the lights. It just shows you how worthless it actually is doing stuff like that. It is absolutely pointless. You're just going to get caught with traffic a little bit further up. But anyway, I think that's just about it. Hopefully that's been useful. Remember, non-routine, get thinking, get adapting all types of things, steering inputs, when you check your mirrors, when you signal. It's not always a never, it always is, depends. That was a little bit of a contradiction, but I think you know where I'm coming from. Keep safe, everyone. I'll see you soon. Even there, I was rolling my car dependent on where that lady was wishing to cross. Never stops. Keep safe.